Yeah, going back to Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. So my issue with every Dragon Ball Z game ever is it's really just
Everyone.
been cut and paste. Like you had Dragon Ball Z, the anime and the manga, and you had the story, and then they just kind of kept coming out with more and more DBZ games that they must sell well if they keep coming out with them, but it's always the same story. There's never really anything different. They started out with the Budokai series, which was just fighter games, and then they went to the Budokai Tenkaichi series, which was more of a I would say a little more open with fighting in between, but it was really just like linear paths followed by fighting from what I remember of it. Then they had the recent Dragon Ball Fighter Z, which that was a little different. That was a straight fighter game, but it was different because they were somehow able to almost shot for shot mimic what it looks like in the anime, which to me on a technical perspective was just very impressive. Then they have this Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, which again is just Dragon Ball Z, the story of Goku and everything like that, but it is open world as far as I saw, and you could there's like side missions and stuff like that. It looks really cool. I am very interested to see what the user and critic ratings are for it. Unfortunately, critic ratings seem to always tend to go very high, and user ratings tend to be a lot of fake ratings. So it's kind of hard for me to disseminate from that what it's going to be like. But I feel like if there's no controversy surrounding a game, the user scores are usually pretty legit.
Yeah, I wonder because like I've never gotten into Dragon Ball Z, and it seems like something that's almost overwhelming at this point because there's so many years of history and like games and animes and shows. It would be like, all right, you got to sit in a room for the next 7 months to catch up to what's happening in this world.
No, I disagree completely. I feel like DBZ had a story. It was in the anime. If you know that story, you don't have to play any of the previous games. And you don't even have to, if you've never watched the anime, just play this game and see through it with fresh eyes because it's basically going to be the same story as the anime, I presume.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll check it out.
No,
It looks neat. I was just sick of the Budokai ones, just the fighters, and I just wanted something different.
That was a long time ago. Or do they still make those, the Budokai series?
They change them now to I don't know all these crazy names, but it used to be Budokai.
Yeah,
and then, but the only one like fighters, like 1-on-1. But depending on how the combat is, that might be something interesting.
I will say the Budokai series was at least interesting because it was 1v1 in a 3D space, which was kind of cool. It wasn't like when I say in 3D space, I don't mean like Soul Calibur where you could sidestep. I mean you could fly around and fight. That's what the Budokai.
Like Dissidia for the PlayStation 4, the new one.
Yeah. It was a lot like Dissidia. But again, the Budokai series didn't change ever. The Fighters Z or Fighters, I don't know what it's called. That was the only one that was like a legitimate like 1v1 kind of a side V-side a la Street Fighter kind of fighting game. But that was actually, even though that is what we're used to with fighting games for the Dragon Ball Z series, that was actually the outlier. That was the big difference is that most of them were in 3D space. This one was kind of a side v side, and I was only interested in it just because I wanted to look at the pretty animation, to be honest. This is trying to think if they've ever done anything like this DBZ. I don't want to talk about DBZ for an hour, but I don't think they've ever done anything like this with like an RPG elements. The closest I've ever seen is there used to be this thing you could go to online. I think it was Dream Maker or something where you could make your own games. I used to play this. Basically, anybody could just make their own games and post it, and they were all online. There was a DBZ one; it was all sprite based. There was a Yu-Gi-Oh one that I would play, and there was a DBZ one that someone made that I would play a lot. And you could go around, you could fight each other or train and stuff like that. It was really fun. I feel like DBZ could have been like a really good open world game or a really good MMO.
Come out?
January something. January 17th.
Oh, that's pretty soon.
They used to make one, and it was called. It was what? So.
I just got a Discord notification that Dan accepted my friend request that I probably sent him back in March of 2019.
Oh, you finally made it. You guys are friends now.
But they made one a while back for the Game Boy Advance, and it was called Dragon Ball Z Legacy of Goku.
Yes, I played that.
And that was kind of like a top-down, like walk around kind of thing.
It was kind of a top-down RPG.
Yeah. So there was that. But
I didn't make it very far in that one. I kept dying.
Neither did I.
That was also one of the first times I ever saw them take cartoon animation and put it onto a Game Boy Advance cartridge. Because I know you could watch episodes of TV shows on Game Boy Advance, but that Goku game started out with like kind of scenes from the cartoon, which I thought was pretty cool, even though they were like super compressed down to like 120p, 240p, something like that. It was like...
Hey, it was something.